Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here today and welcome. I have been getting so many questions and so many comments. So, thank you so much for sending them in. I'm able to answer some of them back to you. So, hopefully, those answers can help you in making decisions and moving forward with your family or with your students. So today I was supposed to be joined by a coach. I'm still waiting for her, but we'll get started because I don't want to waste time. So first thing we always do is what? We have to come here and now. I don't know about you. Maybe it's been a busy day. Maybe some of you are off on March break, spring break. Maybe you're busy. You have lots going on. Days have changed, right? So many things are going on. So maybe we need to bring ourselves here and now and feel the presence. So, how do we do that? In order to do that, I've been showing you this image, right? So believe it or not, all of our learning, all of our living, and all of our leading happens in this space, which is now and here. If we don't know how to be now and here, we're where are we? We are usually in the past, or we're usually in the future. And what are we doing there? We're thinking. Our brain keeps us occupied about the past. And tell me honestly, if the whole day today, we haven't finished the day yet, but for the whole day, how many times have you thought about your past? What have you thought about of your past? Think about it. All the stories, maybe all the places where you've been beating yourself about. I shouldn't have done that. Could have done this. I should have done that. Maybe that's what you've been thinking about. It's really important to notice what have you been thinking about, right? So past is good to think about, but when it's so negative, what it does is it just replaying in a loop stories that we want to just get away from. So what can we do? We can extract all the lessons and really take the lessons, and then we just have to let it go. If you don't let it go, it's just going to keep you in a loop playing the same old stories, and it's not worth it because it doesn't let you be here and now. Anything that doesn't let you be here and now, we have a problem, right? So let it go, and the past, we can just take the lessons that we can use it, implement it in our learning, in our living, and in our leading right now. Now the other place we go is where? Into the future. We love to plan our future, right? Planning the future is good. You might think, what are you talking about? I love planning my future. I love setting goals. All of that is great, but only thing is, if you think about today, if you were thinking about your future, a lot of the time what we do is we take our experience from the past and we project it and start thinking through that lens what our future is going to look like. Now, there's a problem with that, right? If you keep looking through the past, your future, you're going to project the past, the failures, and then you're going to do all the projections of the future with, or predictions of the future with, what could go wrong? What if this happens? What if that happens, right? What if it doesn't happen? All of these things doesn't give us a real future. It just gives us anxiety. And if you've been feeling that way, that's because you're thinking about your future, but you're thinking about the future with the past projected, and that is the lens you're thinking through. So that's why it's really important for us to really let release this as well. Not let go, but release it. But before you release it, bless it, because future is always available to all of us. That's one thing we know. There's something that's going to happen, right? We don't know how to predict that, but we know something is going to happen. So therefore we can just release it, and we can just bless it and release it. And then guess what happens when I do both of those? I just have my hands here. This actually allows me to come here and now. When I'm here and now, I am now able to live, learn, lead. We're always living, and we're always supposed to be living here and now and always learning, right? Learning in life. Like even as adults, we're learning because we don't know everything yet. So we're always learning. So we should always be willing to learn. And we need to be here in the presence to actually enjoy and live this moment. And also, we're always leading. Believe it or not, you're leading yourself, and you are leading those people who you are responsible for. So as a parent, you're leading your children, you're leading yourself. As a teacher, you're leading yourself, you're leading your students, you're leading your family. So all of us, all adults, all of us, including children, they're leading themselves, and maybe others as well. So it's important to remember to be here and now. Another way that we bring ourselves here and now is breathing. Breathing is so important. So to do that, Let's take 3 breaths together, but with intention, because a lot of time we are breathing. You're going to say, I am breathing. What do you mean? I am breathing, otherwise I wouldn't be alive, right? But I'm not talking about just taking a breath. I'm talking about taking the breath with intention and letting go things that might be just holding on to you. So let's take an inhale for 4 and hold for 4, and then release for 8. So let go everything, anything you have in your body, let it go. All the worries, all the pressures, all the things you've been carrying, just let it go through your mouth for 8 counts. And at the bottom, hold for 4. So don't breathe in yet, just hold for 4. So that bottom 4 really anchors you, right? It grounds us. So let's inhale for 4, hold for 4. Now I want you to let go everything and anything that you've been holding, even the tension in your shoulders. Maybe it's the tension in your back, it's the tension in your neck. Whatever it is, just let it go through your mouth. Out. Now hold at the bottom for 4. Just hold it for 4. So let's inhale again for 4. Big inhale, hold for 4. And then exhale everything and anything and all the tension, all the pressure, everything, just let it go. So how does that make you feel? How do you feel now? How does it make you feel? Don't you feel relaxed? Don't you feel like you're home? Don't you feel grounded? Because we do breathe. Of course we do breathe, but we don't breathe with this intention to come home to ourselves, right? So today I have a topic that would relate to anyone and everyone. It doesn't matter if you're an adult or a young child or student or anyone. It can relate to you, because you know that feeling, I know what I want. I know what I want to, but I can't. Have you ever felt that? Like you always know what you want. You know you have to do it, but you just can't do it. Have you been trapped in that mode ever? Be honest, because we all have, right? We all have. So that's the overthinking, right? Thinking about things, overthinking. And then after I overthink, I just paralyze myself from making that decision. So I'm just at the point of always, I want to, but I can't. Can you relate to this? I think every one of us have these moments, right? So today, really, I want to talk about this. This is what I want to talk about. Have you ever had a moment where you say to yourself, I know exactly what I want to do, what I need to do. I know what I want and need to do, but I can't. But I just can't get myself to move. Have you had that moment even today? Maybe you did. Now, this can actually, as I said, it can happen to students, it can happen to parents, it can happen to professional, it can happen to everyone. From the outside, it looks like procrastination, right? A lot of people might think, oh, you just procrastinate, you just don't want to do it, you're just lazy, right? Even maybe you have said that to yourself as well, that this and that, right? We all do that. So it's not laziness, it is procrastination, but there is a reason why we're not doing it, right? Why we're overthinking and paralyzing ourselves. So that's what I want to talk about. So inside your brain, something is happening that's different than what it appears on the outside, right? You're not lazy, but there's something else inside happening. So I'm just going to check on the coach if she's joining me, because I need to get her on here so I can have a conversation with her. But unfortunately, I don't see her yet. But I just asked her if she's coming, but otherwise, I'm going to keep going. So, inside, from the outside, it feels like you look like you're procrastinating or you're lazy. But from the brain inside, it's very different what's happening. So, today, I want to talk about overthinking, paralyzing, and why your brain sometimes freezes instead of moving forward. Have you ever asked that? Why do I freeze instead of keep moving forward? What's happening? Have you ever asked that? That's what we want to talk about today. So what happens is when we don't move forward, when we're not moving forward, what is happening is that we are replaying the conversation. We have conversations by ourselves. by ourselves, right? So, with those conversations, what do? We stay stuck. Like I just talked about the past, we get stuck in the past talking to our brain about the past. So, if you think about it, how can I move forward? As I said just now, that here and now is the place where we can do something about it, right? So, if I'm in the past replaying conversation, and then analyzing every option, and then I go to the future and I project the past and think about every option, and then I go to the past again and think about all the ways that I failed and see all the ways that I could fail in the future. So if I keep doing this, the past thinking and the forward thinking, both of them, I am doing it with the fear of failure, or I am projecting by overthinking all of this. What will happen? Do you think you'll ever have time to do something here and now? Not really, right? It's not possible because all of our um, energy and the time that we're awake, we're spending on reliving the past, playing that conversation again and again, replaying that, and then analyzing it and then projecting that into the future and then recreating another scene for the future where we are fearful of to even go ahead with it. So how can you create anything? You can't. That's what paralyzes. That's what feels like you're paralyzed, because basically your brain is hijacking you from being here and now and taking you to the past and taking you to the future, but projecting the past, so it feels like I can't go anywhere. Can you relate to this? Can anyone relate to this? Have you ever felt torn apart? You want to do it, but you just can't do it. So then we start analyzing it, right? We analyze from every angle. Some people say, you know what, before I make a decision, I have to look at this from every single angle. I mean, sure, everything has to be something, you have to think about it, but can you think about everything that's going to happen? Is that going to create a decision or wanting you to do something, or is that going to paralyze you? Most likely it will paralyze you if you overthink it, right? This is common for people. So analyzing every option, replaying the conversations, these are things that keeps us stuck and overthinking, and then worrying about making the wrong choice. How many of you cannot make a decision and you overthink and you paralyze yourself because you're so worried about the decision being wrong? Why? Because your past might have been a decision you made, and that decision you felt was wrong, and you are still beating up about it. So that any other decision you make in the future or now, you're fearful of it, right? So again, how can you do anything? You're gonna say I can't, right? Even though you want to, the want is there. I need to is also there, but I can't is the next answer to that. So that always happens in that order, right? So worry about making wrong decision. Also, delaying action and waiting for certainty. Now let's talk about that. How can we find certainty in everything that we're going to take an action on? How can we know the certainty of that? We can only assume that certainty is there, but there's no 100% guarantee in anything, right? So we have to take that leap of faith in some situation. Take that, a guess, but stay with something that it's going to work. But if you keep second guessing yourself and thinking about it that this is going to be wrong, and if I do it, it's just going to make my life like this and that, if you keep saying that, you're going to be paralyzed. It's going to feel so tight and stuck. And can you relate to that feeling, thinking about the certainty of a decision? It's so hard, right, to make that. It's never going to come, right? So the brain thinks more when it feels this way. The brain feels like this more when it feels unsafe. So think in your life, where do you feel unsafe in your life, related to whatever you're overthinking? It's going to be different for different people, right? So in your life, where are you overthinking, and what part of that feel unsafe to you? Or if you're helping somebody, where in their life are they feeling unsafe, and where are they keeping themselves overthinking and being paralyzed? Because when we start noticing where we are feeling unsafe, then we can really move that along, to instead of overthinking, we then think about what is one step I can take. Because instead of, if we keep thinking about it this in this unsafe way, you won't take even one step forward, right? So how about a simple step, one step, the first step to take forward? So that's why you have to look at it and notice, because everything starts with noticing and awareness, right? Notice, what is one thing in this I'm feeling unsafe? What part of it is unsafe? Is it being seen? Is it being successful? Because sometimes we fear about success. Sometimes we fear about failure. Sometimes we fear about being available to the public. Like right now, I'm talking to all of you, right? So if I don't think my mission and my purpose is bigger than myself and my feelings, I won't be here, because I would be protecting myself, thinking I can go online, I can do a live. That's very scary because people are watching me. I can't do that. I can paralyze myself. But every single day I show up here because I believe in the purpose. I believe in the Readiness OS and what it can do for humans. And we want to serve 1.5 billion humans by 2035, ending the human suffering. So this is why I show up. So that's how I overcame my overthinking and my way of paralyzing myself to show up on spaces like this. Before I was like that. Now I have worked on it. I felt like, where do I feel unsafe? Maybe I feel unsafe about what people might think or what people might say, but that doesn't matter. If you have something to say to me, please put it in the comments, because I actually value good comments. And if you have anything to challenge what I'm saying, I actually even love that as well. Why? Because it helps us all grow. I don't need everyone to agree with me. I just want everyone to ask more questions. Just like I ask questions, if you ask questions, that'll make me grow. And then if I ask questions, that makes you and other people grow. So that's how I think of it now. So I'm just sharing my personal side of it, right? How I overcame overthinking to be in a space like this, doing a live every single day. How did I overcome? By noticing, what is the feeling that I'm getting? It was unsafe. What is the unsafe feeling I was getting? I will be noticed by a lot of people, strangers, and they might say something rude or something. I don't take anything rude anymore, because there's nothing to be rude. If you tell me something, I would just answer you politely and say, can we think about it this way? Can we look at it from this angle? What other perspectives you have? How else can I look at it? So I take every comment as a beautiful blessing for me to learn and grow, for you to learn and grow as well. So that's why I'm here. So overthinking is really not the problem, right? Because we have to think about stuff. That's not the real problem. The actual problem is safety. It comes from the safety. Like if you go back to my situation, my thinking about even being in this space, I was thinking that if I put myself in a place like this, there's a way that people can say whatever they want, right? It's up to, because it's a social media, you can say a lot of people, because we say it through the screen, sometimes we have seen people say mean things, but it doesn't bother me anymore. There was a time that it would bother me. Now it doesn't bother me because I am home. I'm here at home, and here I'm very safe. So that was not the Kohila I used to be. I used to be someone who was always could be triggered by other people's words and other people what they thought about me. Right now, I don't have that, because I'm home, totally home in this body, so safe. So the problem is not overthinking. It's the fact that if you're not safe, overthinking just keeps you in that loop. I'm not able to, I can't do it. And then of course we're going to find a lot of excuses, right? When we say I can't, what comes next is excuses. All about excuses, and it's going to look like what? Procrastination. And then we're paralyzed again. So see how the loop is playing in every part of our life, right? So what is the next thing that we can do about it? It's to witness it. It is to notice it. Where am I feeling unsafe? And ask questions to your brain. Talk to your brain about it, because your brain is a very, very powerful machine. Let's talk to it and see why are you protecting me here? What are you protecting me for? What type of protection is this? Why is this coming up every time I have to do this? What am I trying to, safeguard here? Those are questions you can ask your brain, and it will actually help you answer it as well. Challenge it, right? So another way that when we overthink, it freezes, is also the brain feels the pressure, right? Because sometimes when we have to get something done, we put pressure on our brain to do it. And then, of course, when it doesn't feel safe, it is going to fight. or it's going to flee away, or it's going to freeze. So the overthinking and the paralyzation is actually a form of you freezing from wanting to do what you need to do. And then you come up with all the sorts of excuses. We all do. And then we buy into it because we buy into our own story, right? So when the brain is doing this, what is it doing? Is it making us lazy? No, it's not at all. What it's doing is it's protecting us from what? Making mistakes, because we have the past constantly replaying, right? Telling us that be careful, don't make that mistake again. Remember last time you did this, this is what happened, right? So why would you do it again? So it's telling us that feedback loop is right there, right? Because we haven't closed those. We still haven't picked up all the lesson and let it go. It's going to play. Mistakes, don't make the mistake. And also another thing is failing. How many of us want to ever fail? No, nobody wants to fail, right? We want to succeed. But if I take an action and if I overthink, what if I fail? There is your stop sign, right? The minute you think, what if I fail? It's over. That decision, that thing that you want to do, it cannot happen. You are going to say, I want to, I need to, but I can't. Can you see how it becomes a story now? How it goes right in a loop? And then the next part is what I talked about myself. To be on this life right now, I was afraid of being judged, right? So another thing that happens in our brain is protection is judgment. So there are so many ways that judgment stays in our body, in our system. We create stories about it. So English is a second language to me. I learned it when I was young. So there's that fear from my young childhood, right? That could show up, but I don't have any fear of that either. I speak normally now, but that could be something that I might have it, but I don't anymore. But some of you watching might have that. You might fear of being judged, or maybe fear of being judged of your look or your hair or whatever, or what you wear. So when you're home, when you learn to be home, and when you start talking to your brain, actually you don't have time to think about who's judging you. And even if you feel like somebody's judging, your brain won't process that as it did before. It never does anymore to me. I actually don't spend time thinking about what other people are thinking, and I also don't think about all the times what others are judging, because it's none of my business. And also they're wasting time thinking about me, and I would be very selfish to think that that's what others do. Don't you think that they have other things to do? Like, they have their own life, they have their own family, they have their own business. Why would they be thinking about me? How special am I to other people, right? So even to think that story, that's pretty selfish of me to think that, right? That everyone's going to judge me. They're not. It's usually us creating that story. Again, that's how we overthink. That's how we paralyze. That's how we freeze ourselves. And then we say, I want to do this. I need to do this, but I can't. So what we happen to do in this is we keep analyzing it. So analyzing without action creates what? Paralyzation. You're paralyzed. You're not going to move forward. You're just going to sit and wish. I wish I can do this. I I wish I can do this. I can't. Now, sometimes we overthink, and even children and even adults do this as well. When there are so many choices, right? Some of the times we cannot make decision and move on is when we have so many choices. So we're like, I don't know. I have no idea what choice is going to be the best for me. So I might as well just think about all of them and paralyze myself by overthinking. That is another way people stop their growth, stop their success. And another one, this is a big one, especially since we have the social media, is constant comparison. I'm sure every one of us have done it. I've done it too. In the past Kohila version, yes, there was a lot of comparison. This Kohila does not have comparison. There's no comparison to be done. I am who I am. I am home. I am very, very secure and aligned. So there is no comparison. But if you don't, then you have to work on that, because every time you want to make a decision, you want to move forward, what are you going to do? The comparison loop keeps us constantly overthinking. And then it becomes unsafe. Then our nervous system overactivates. Then our brain starts speaking to us in all sorts of nonsense and giving us stories and validations that why you shouldn't be doing what you should. And then we paralyze. Can you see the loop? Can you see the loop? Okay. The another one is fear of judgment, I already talked about, right? So if you think about people are judging, I actually figured out this bit hard way, because I think whenever somebody says someone's going to judge, I think it actually, that is actually something we actually judge others. When you judge others, you think they're doing the same thing. So I would question anybody who's saying I would be judged. The fear of judgment, if you want to get over it, I would really notice, do I judge others? Hmm. That's an interesting question, right? Because we're always thinking others will do something to us, but how about me doing it? Because I was like that. About 5 years ago, when I went to Dubai, I did an I was at an event, at Mind Valley Mastermind event, and there was Burning Man, and they asked me to do an activity. They said, write a word and we're going to burn it. And I said, I don't really have any words to burn. I don't know what to burn. So I started thinking deeply, and then I came up with judgment, because at that point I was paralyzed by judging. I was judging others. I was paralyzed by judging others, thinking that they were judging me, but it wasn't. It was me judging them. I always judged people 5 years ago. So I had to I had to burn that word out of my system. I have to let go of that word. Stop judging others. Who are you to judge others? Who am I to judge others? That's none of my business, right? So when I stop judging others, guess what? I feel like nobody's judging me. It was like instantaneously, it was gone. That fear of judgment was gone, because I no longer have space or time to think about who's judging me, because I don't judge people. So sometimes it's us who creates these stories and we think other people are doing, right? So that's another place to notice. Now, what about the pressure to be perfect? Isn't that something that paralyzes us? We had our coach Molly the other day, we talked about this, right? Perfect is the best partnership with procrastination, right? They partner up really well. And in order for me to do something perfect, if I can't, then fear of judgment, comparison, because they do it better, I can't do it better, so I might as well not do it at all. So it's not going to be perfect, so how can I do it? So I'll just stay here. So you freeze, you overthink, you freeze, and you paralyze yourself again. That's something. What are we doing? We're talking too much about the negative things. Our brain is bringing up so many things. Remember last time you did this, they didn't really like you, they gave you bad comments, right? So don't do it. Your brain is so powerful, it can create any story you want. I talked about our brain being such a powerful machine, and it's in your hands to control this. It's not in its own hands to control you. So when you find that power, you can create anything you want. This is something that I learned while I was dying when I was 12 years old, because I listened to my brain. The brain can make any story real, but you have the power to rewrite that and challenge your brain. Really? Really? It has to be perfect? According to whose scale is it going to be perfect? Show me the scale that I have to be perfect at. There is no scale, right? It's imaginary. We all set it up, and we set it up so high for ourselves, and then we can't reach it. And when we can't reach it, we feel like a failure, and we shut down, and we overthink, and we listen to our brain, more stories from our brain. It projects to the past, and it says, you know what? Don't even try. Don't even try. Just stay here. You're safe. Because what is the job of our brain and our nervous system? Is to keep us safe. That is its ultimate job. So it's going to do it in any form, any way. It's going to bring stories. It's a powerful machine that can create any story it wants at any time. Now, another way that we get overwhelmed is information overload. Do you feel like you're living in an information overload era right now? Yes. Anywhere you turn, anywhere you go, turn on the TV, turn on the phone, turn the computer on, anywhere, turn to the people, turn to the road. It doesn't matter where you are. Information is overloading every one of us, right? It's like always at us. So that can paralyze you too. That can make you overthink too, because you're just seeing so many things. What's right? What's wrong? What do I do? Where do I go? Can you imagine how children are feeling right now if we're feeling like this? So no wonder they probably want to do things too, as the children, right? They probably want to learn, but they probably can't learn. So that's why I always ask, turn on the compassion lens. Through the compassion lens, look at these children, where they're growing in that environment. I talked about this on the other call, right? The environment they're growing in has changed our brain brain and how it works and how fast it works, has to work. It is wiring our brain in a totally different way. So now every time we want to do something, we overthink, overthink and paralyze ourselves, and we just go, I want to do this, but I can't. Can you imagine how children are also feeling this way? Can you see it? Because no child here gets up in the morning and says, you know what, I'm going to make all sorts of behavior so I don't do anything today. I don't think anybody wakes up in that mood and says that, right? They probably think, I'm going to do something, but then they say, you know what, I can't. My brain is not allowing me, my body is not allowing me, this system is not in alignment, this is a biological living body and it's bombarded with so many variables, it's not in alignment, I can't do it. And then how do they show us they can do it? How do they show us? With behaviors. Have you noticed different behaviors? Is the classroom full of behaviors? Are the homes full of behaviors that parents don't know what to do? Am I hearing from parents that my child is having big emotions? Why do you think they're having big emotions? Information overload, fast world. Even if they want to do it, they feel like they can't. So they're also freezing as well, right? So today, what's my message today? Whenever you're trying to make decision, right, it's important to see what type of stories are playing for you around that decision, because whatever is coming up for you based on whatever you're trying to make a decision and move forward and take action, if you're not able to take that action, there is a story that's playing. There may be stories that are playing. What are they? Now it's time to analyze what story those stories are. Now then is to look at, why are they coming up? Why are they coming up? And if you look at the why part, it will be probably because I'm not going to do it perfectly, or somebody's going to judge me, or I might do it wrong, or this is not going to be accepted by anyone, or any of those things. It's usually comes down to those type of fear, right? That's why we stop from what we need to do, and then all we can do at that point is, let's just think about this, let's just hold on and think about this, right? Keep thinking about it. So that's what I want you to notice. First step in changing anything is not to start with any tools or strategies, or like, I'm not going to give you any of that. The first thing is for you to become aware of those stories that are playing. And then to ask, why is this playing? And why is it coming up every time I need to do this? All of these stories come. So what is the connection between these two things that are happening to me? Can you notice? Can you start noticing in your life? So then, after noticing, you'll have clarity, right? When you start noticing and when you become aware, you're going to start getting clarity. Oh, whenever I want to do this, this and this and this stories are coming up. This and this and this stories are related to these incidences where I was judged. So since that day, I have a fear of judgment. Not only that, I also have judgment against others, most likely, because that judgment is pretty powerful too. It always has, it hides as others are judging us, but it's usually we are also in that space as well. So I would challenge that as well. So anyway, make sure you bring awareness, you notice, and then from there you can start asking questions. And then anytime your brain brings up that story, talk to your brain. Your brain is somebody who you can talk to, and you can challenge it. You can ask for evidence. You can ask for what it's trying to tell you. What is the meaning of this? Tell me, what is the meaning of this? You can talk to it. And sometimes it's even very powerful. In our program, I ask my coaches, my clients, and everyone to name their brain. It's actually very important to name your brain. So then you can talk it as if you can dissociate from it and talk to it as another person. So it actually gives you a very good conversation between two people, instead of just being like it's you. Now you're talking to, if you name it Sam, it's Sam. Sam, what are you telling me? What's going on, Sam? What is this story? Why is this story always coming up when I want to do this? Why are you coming up and telling me this? So what is the meaning of this? So then when we dissociate, it's actually better to talk to the brain, your own brain. So name it. It's actually very powerful when you start naming it as well. So if you ever felt like saying, I know I want to do this, but I can't move, do you think you're alone? No. We're all on the same same space, right? We're all on the same place. We're all gonna go through this one day or another. Sometimes it's sometimes it's a long time. We feel like, when am I ever gonna get out of this procrastination? When am I ever gonna get anything done? It sometimes, it sometimes happens so many years. We stay in this loop and trap, right? That's why we don't move forward. And then we're fearful of the leap we need to make, and we always say this is too risky, and then we hide back, right? So I just want you to know that you're not alone. Many of us are going through this as well. But when you master your brain, when you own your brain, when you can talk to it, actually it becomes a very fun game to live with your brain. Because until then, your brain thinks it owns you and it gets you to do whatever it wants. But as I learned, that you have the power to make it to do whatever you want to do. So that's how we can move forward in life. That's how we can get whatever we want, get it done. Instead of saying I can't, now we can say I am going to. I can do this. Because why? I know how to talk to my brain. It is very powerful, but you're not alone. This is often the case for many, 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 many adults, many, many parents, many, many students. This is where we're at. So understanding how the brain and the nervous system responds to pressure, this kind of judgment, right? Comparison, how our brain and nervous system responds to all of these is the understanding, and those stories that are related to is what makes it powerful. Can you start witnessing those? Is it possible that you can start witnessing your own thing? So as humans, we love to witness other people's faults or other people's this and that. We are very good at that, right? But can we do that for ourselves? Can I start doing that with me? Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. So when we learn how the system works, we can shift from the paralyzing, your work or anything that you want to get. Instead of paralyzing it, you can get back into flow. That's why our work is even called blocks to flow. So instead of blocking yourself, now you can get into flow. When you're in flow, you can achieve anything you want. Anyone can achieve anything they want. They can perform, they can produce, they can achieve anything they want. So that is what I want for you. So if you're stuck in the phase of, I know what I want, I know what I need, I know what I need to do, I know what I want to do, but I can't move. Try this and let me know in the comments how it goes. So talk to your brain, start naming your brain. It's going to be powerful. And then start talking it, and then see how these systems are, your brain and your nervous system are working and responding under pressure, and see how this can bring your productivity up, right? So that's exactly what all of our coaches are trained to do, is to get you into that acceleration state so that we can help you. So if you're interested in learning more about it, DM me. We have hundreds of coaches who can help you, as well as if you're a parent watching this going, I need this help. We have a free parenting in flow workshop or labs that are starting in April. So if you want to attend any of those, just DM me and I'll give you access to that as well. And you will love it, because first step is to come home to yourself. So be here and now. This is the place where you can get things done. This is the place where you don't need to freeze, because if you're in the past or in the future, these are places that doesn't allow you to do things. But here and now, you can get things done. So that's what I want for you. Get things done, but not with pressure, not with force, but in flow. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.